What's the difference in price between the different styles of tank cleaning head? Now, obviously this is an important question to answer, and the short answer is as follows. For static spray balls, standard spray balls, expect to pay anywhere between £50 and £300 per spray ball, depending on the size. The bigger the spray ball, the more expensive they are. This assumes a standard 316 stainless based material, and you can expect to pay a lot more for Hastelloys and other specialist materials. The price will obviously go up. For spinners, so the spinning style spray balls, expect to pay between £150 and up to about £500 per spinner for a decent brand. Now, there are a lot of not so decent brands out there, and it's really worth buying a good one that's going to last. In the grand scheme of things, a few £100 is neither here nor there when compared to the cost of contaminated batches or poor cleaning from a shoddily made spinner. So get a good brand and expect to pay £150 to £500 depending on the size of it. Now, for rotary jet cleaners, expect to pay between around £2,000 to £3,500 for a decent brand. Again, there are plenty of clones that aren't so decent out there, clones of the main brands, with how shall we say, variable quality. And the brands that we come across and rate as good brands, apart from our own ones, of course, which are manufactured by Basic Marine here in the UK. The other good brands out there that we consider to be true competitors of ours are manufactured by Alfa Laval, Spraying Systems, Leckler, GEA. There might be a few I've missed, but these are the good quality tank cleaners out there, and they're all muchness in terms of price. Expected paid within that sort of £2,000 to £3,500 price list for a rotary jet cleaners. Now you will see out there some equivalent cloned models from fairly random manufacturers from around the world in about £1,000 price range, and probably not a good idea. The quality is probably not going to be there. So for high pressure cleaners, expect to pay anywhere between £2,000 and about £5,000, maybe a little bit more for a decent brand. And high pressure cleaners are the ones that are running at sort of 50 bar plus. And again, the same rules apply about buying quality from reputable brands. There are cheaper copies available, but it's not a great idea given the potential cost of failure. Now, so that answers it. It's the simple answer to the question of cost. Now, for a slightly more nuanced answer, we need to look at the overall cost of the system. So spinners and spray balls have the advantage of being low pressure systems operating optimally around 2 to 3 bar fluid pressure. So this means low operating costs, low fittings costs, low pipework costs. The downside is they actually have a much higher cost of running because they're not very water efficient. So they're very inefficient in terms of water consumption compared to, say, jet cleaners. So the overall lower infrastructure cost and the cost of the hardware itself, in many cases, in fact often, is outstripped by the additional cost of water and disposal of that water over the year or 2 year period. Okay. They also take considerably longer to clean tanks in most situations than rotary jet cleaners. So there's an opportunity cost associated with this longer tank cleaning cycle, because all the while the tank's being cleaned, it can't be used. So what's the opportunity cost of having a tank inoperable whilst it's being cleaned? What's the cost of an extra 2 or 3 hours a week, if that's what the differential between using spray balls and rotary jet cleaners would be? What's that differential cost? And we need to take that into account as well. Now, rotary jet cleaners cost more for the hardware, as we've seen, but they also may need an increase in the pump capacity to accommodate the higher pressures that they want to run at. So that needs to be factored in as well. But as noted above, they are a lot more water efficient than spinners and spray balls. So what we often find is despite the additional cost of the hardware and despite the additional cost of maybe an upgraded pump, over the long period, over the course of the year, they actually save an awful lot of money. They're actually a lot because of that efficiency gains. Now for high pressure cleaners, we need high pressure pumps and high pressure pipe work. So it's a whole different ball game, running something at about 10 bar, which is the optimal pressures for standard rotary jet cleaners. If we're then moving up to 50 or 100 bar, we're going to need to change to high pressure pipe work. We're certainly going to need some high pressure pumps, and we need to factor in all of the wear and tear and also all of the additional health and safety considerations that go with running in a high pressure fluid system. So these are all going to increase the overall costs. To balance this large additional infrastructure cost, they will use less fluid than rotary jet cleaners. Okay, so they may well be more fluid efficient per cleaning cycle. In fact, often they will be. So we need to have a balancing consideration between those much larger infrastructure costs and the benefits of having a more water efficient tank cleaning system. So to recap the short answer, static spray balls expect to pay between 50 and 300 quid for a standard 316 spray ball, 316 stainless spray ball. For spinners, for decent manufacturers, expect to pay between about 150 and 500 quid for the spinner, depending on the size of it. There are a lot of cheap knockoffs out there, but avoid those because the cost of failure is so high. Decent rotary jet cleaners from the good manufacturers, between 2,000 and 3.5 grand. And then high pressure cleaners are going to be more expensive than that, so sort of 2.5 to 5,000 pounds for a high pressure cleaner from a decent manufacturer. I hope that answers the question.